Okay, so let's understand our current solution through our example. Okay, let's say suppose we have Mr. A. Okay, so what Mr. A is thinking that he is willing to start garment business, or specifically we can say apparels. Okay, to start garment business. Now what happens? Mr. A is also short of funds. You can write it down, which I am, going to write down on the sheet. Okay, so Mr. A is also short of funds. However, his friend Mr. B has asked Mr. A various types of methods to raise funds. Okay, now what happens? Out of such current methods, as our questions also specifies, which is not a sustainable method of raising the funds for a business. So Mr. B says the sustainable method is one which gives sufficient as well as certainty to receive such funds. Okay, what Mr. B says that the funds which are going to be raised through any type of method, or we can say through any type of medium, first of all it should be sufficient, and second it should be certain. Okay, now out of the options available which the question has asked us, that which of the following is not a sustainable method of raising funds. So tax refund, we will discuss the tax refunds. Why that so? Because it is the most appropriate choice out of the current available options. Okay, so tax refunds are basically the amounts which a taxpayer is likely to receive from tax authorities. Okay, let's say suppose you have an income of $100,000. Now you have to pay tax to the government. Now you have already deposited the tax which is more than the liability you have towards the government in respect of taxes. So it is very likely that you are going to receive the tax refunds because you have deposited a greater amount than your liability. Okay, but what happens when the government assesses your tax liability? It does it in a different way. Okay, there is a natural tendency of a person, of a taxpayer, we can say natural tendency is to avoid taxes. So the government will work against that. So the government assesses the taxpayer's liability as per the act, but in some other directions also. Like the taxpayer may avoid some income sources to include income in their tax assessment. So the tax authorities will do that. Will do that. Okay. So tax refunds also, they are not sufficient. First of all, they are not sufficient. They are not sufficient. Why that so? Because it may be around, mostly very, it may range to $50,000. That's all, and that will be not sufficient for a business to get funded at the initial stage. Okay, why that so? Because at the initial stage, it is very likely that for the initial 5 years the business is going to make loss, even if, and most specifically, why that happens, because the business does not get the required number of clients to start the business also. So that is why $50,000 will not, or may we can say $100,000 will not be enough also. Okay, and it also depends on business to business case. Business to business case, like what type of business you are going to start. Okay, also there is not very certainty as to receipt of tax refunds. Why that so? Because it may happen that authority faces some of the issues in processing the refunds, or may take much time greater than required time as per the or local regulations. So your tax refund may get delayed. Okay, now if you're willing to start the business in 1 month, and if your tax refunds are going to be issued after 6 months, then it's very likely that there is, very less certainty that you will get your tax refunds. So it is not a sustainable method of fundraising. Okay, so the correct choice for problem is D, tax refunds. Okay, that's all for our solution. Thank you.